wife and I are kidaholics. So my wife and I just absolutely love kids. Where are you living now, Teresa?
I'm in a very small town called St. Mary, Missouri. It's in between St. Louis and Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Gotcha.
I think the population was like 300 and something until we moved in, and then it went up by four.
Yeah.
But we have a new baby coming, so five.
Yay. Yay.
All right. All right. All right.
Well, super. Well, all right. So let's go ahead and if Mehdi could give controls to Teresa. So if you have anything you want to share with us, photos, videos, slides, whatever that you can. And we would love to give the floor over to you as our featured speaker and appreciate you being here and take it away.
Hi, my name is Teresa Aldrich. I'm known on the web as T-Bird, and my story is really about excelling in the Navy, E6 in 6 years, two Navy Achievement Medals, handpicked for my next assignment. But that last year, I had a lot of medical problems and a lot of problems with the medical staff. And I ended up, unbeknownst to me, with PTSD. Uh, all I knew is that by the end of my career, and I had been 8 years in and planned to make it a career, uh, that I was slowly mentally kind of coming done. And so I got out because I just didn't know what else to do. I went to my command for help. I did several things, but not it, most of it just turned into more negativity for me. So I got out, and there you are. You're out of the military, a stranger in a strange land. They don't even speak the same language. They move very slow. People lean on walls like they got nothing else better to do. and there was no uh, I got out in California, so there was no family or anyone waiting for me. I was just out and on my own. I refer to it as feeling thundershook. You know, mentally I was frailing. I didn't have that sense of being something part of something bigger than myself. I didn't have a chief I could go to and say, "Hey, this is screwed up." And so around, I would say August or September, I finally had to call the suicide hotline. Now, at that time, I didn't really understand the VA. I knew I was getting a disability check from them for the surgery I'd had, but nobody really explained to me you can go to the VA hospital, you can do this, you can do that. Uh, so I called suicide hotline, and, and this is sad. And I got put on hold, and I just thought, oh my God, there's so many of us poor bastards out there. They can't even keep up with them. And I waited, and they came on, and they were very nice, very helpful, and they told me I could call the VA. So about 2 a.m. it was at that time. She said, just call the VA and tell me you want to speak to the psychiatrist on duty. So that's what I did. And he said that I could, well, actually, let me do this for you. I'm writing my memoirs now, and I have the story written down, and it's called From Suicide Hotline to VA. It's short, but it'll give you a little thing. And that'll be the basis for how I'm going to build into what I ended up doing. So I left the Navy in 1990 after 8 years of service. Uh, let's see. The So you know how the VA is. Sometimes it can be just a comedy of errors. So the doctor tells me, he's like, well, the VA doc says, well, I'm going to send some police to your door, and they're going to bring you here. Now it's 2 a.m. My roommate wasn't home, thank goodness. And so I'm like, well, okay, because I'm thinking that doesn't sound good, but I thought killing yourself doesn't sound good either. So out of the two, so the cops come with the lights flashing. Three cop cars show up. It looked like a freaking crime scene. So they came in, they talked to me, and I said, blah blah blah. And they were super kind and supportive. So they said, well, you're going to have to come with us. What are you going to say to two big cops? I'm like, okay. So I get in the back of the cop car and say, now you're taking me to the VA, right? And they say, no, we can't take you to the VA. We got to take you to the state hospital. So I'm like, oh my. So they take me to state hospital and they put me in this waiting room where some guy comes in tied down to the little wheelie cart thing and screaming, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill everyone. And that was it for me, man. I split. I ran out into the parking lot, hid behind some cars, looked for helicopters looking for me. And I thought to myself, how in the hell did I go from being an E6 in the Navy and one of the leading petty officers? And now I'm freaking hiding behind a car in a hospital parking lot because I'm suicidal. This is just took a bad turn really fast. So I stuck back in the hospital. I called the VA doctor, and he said, well, get a cab and go home and call me. So that's what I did. And I called him, and he said, if you promise you'll be in at 8 a.m., I will not send the police back to your house, which I did. And I went, and they put me in the hospital for a few days. And that was really helpful because, medicine and science. And so I got out and I spent a lot of time at the hospital because I was going to therapy once or twice a week, and I was trying to get into this day hospital program where you go 5 days a week. And I got into that. And as I was in the hospital and I had a couple of inpatient things, I I'd go to the group therapy, and at that time there were a few Vietnam veterans there too. And but I was a woman with PTSD, so I that they'd go out and smoke and kind of sit at their own table, and I'd go out and smoke and just hang out. And they kind of, sniffed me out and decided I was okay. And I got to hang out with them. And those guys taught me everything I needed to know at that time about filing a disability claim because I was trying to get an answer from the VA and it was impossible. And I took down little pieces, I took notes on pieces of paper. I asked question after question. I was probably on the grounds of that VA hospital every day for about 2 years. Because then I went to compensated work therapy, making a nickel stuff in an envelope. And then after I did that for a while, a company they contracted to hired me to come over temporarily and then offered me a job as their marketing systems analyst. So I took that job and was able to work it for a few years before the PTSD came again. But when I was in the hospital, when I was on the hospital grounds, uh, the web wasn't around yet. The internet was, but the web wasn't around yet. And so I thought, I got to share all this information I have with other veterans because it's so hard to come by. And I thought about doing a flyer or a pamphlet. I couldn't get it very far, but I could pass it out to other veterans and ask them to leave it at libraries, wherever they think, veterans go. And And then I got that job and they introduced me to the web in 1994. And I was like, well, this is it. This is how I tell veterans everything. And so in 1995, I put a small website up from my internet service provider. They give you a little free 3-page website. And I started putting all my information on there. And people started wandering in because at that particular point in time, there weren't many people in the game for VA disability on the web. As a matter of fact, there were only like 25,000 websites at that time. And so I had to teach myself about everything about VA law and everything about uh, benefits and everything about how to write HTML code and how to create websites. I mean, so I did that and I perfected it. And in 96, I realized I was ready for my own domain name. And in January of 97, I was on the phone with the VA. And after being on hold twice for an hour and being disconnected each time, I slammed the phone down and said, I've had it. And that's when I decided to name my website hadit.com, veteran to veteran, because I'd had it. And so I opened it up and it became I opened it up in January 20th of 1997. It's still open today, 28 years later, and we're still helping veterans. We've had over 44 million visitors over the years. We've served hundreds of millions of web pages. We've had thousands of successes. And when I say successes, I ask the men and women to post their success, whether it's a success in a claim or they were able to leave their house that day. Whatever was successful. And that we'd already been talked down to, ignored, told we were wrong. So I designed a discussion forum, a community where veterans could talk to each other about VA claims without having that VA attitude, that we're all brothers and sisters here trying to help each other get to the next, whatever they need. And boy, it really took off because I kind of thought of it as sort of crowdsourcing. If a guy in Texas has the same spine disability as the guy in Maine, and the guy in Maine gets approved, the guy in Texas doesn't. If they compare notes, they'll soon see what made the difference between the two. And that was my whole thing in creating that. Currently, we have over 26,000 members, and I'm doing about 30,000 visits a month, which isn't bad. I've been a lot higher, but I'm getting older. And I've done it, funded it, did all the work, everything has been me, just a one woman shop. I have some volunteer moderators on the forum that I'm very thankful for.
What's the name of the website?
Hadit.com, as in I've had it, HADIT.
Hadit.com. That's a great name.
It is, isn't it?
I'll
There's
go.
all kinds of people who are using different iterations of it, like I've had it, they've had it, we've had it now, because I registered it in 97 and, nobody had thought of it yet. I wish I'd have registered a few others I thought of, but I didn't. So that's kind of my story. I found transitioning from the service difficult. I found it very difficult to not be part of something bigger. I felt it very difficult not to have a mission. I sort of created my own community and my own mission. And because I never felt like I never walked away from helping my brothers and sisters. That feeling never left me. And I needed to do it. So that's what I did. And my story it's kind of, it doesn't matter how many things are going on or how broken people tell you are, or you might think you are. You can still become a productive member of society. You can still make a difference, even if it's to only one person. They'll touch another person and it will spread. Uh, the thing is, you can get knocked down to the canvas. You can even wait for the count. But when he gets to 9, you got to get back up. PTSD or not, depression or not, you got to get back up and try. If by trying all you could do is get up and brush your teeth that day, check it off and consider it a success. Tomorrow, maybe do one more thing. And you build up one at a time like that. So that's kind of my story. Do you have any questions?
Well, okay, so where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, in the next 2 years, I would really like to find a successor for Had It so it can continue. And 2 years will be 30 years I've been running it. And I'm 68 now, so I'd like to pass it on to the younger generation. Uh, and I want to focus on writing my memoirs, which are about a lot of different traumas that happened to me, how I survived them and kept going. And you don't have to let it keep you from doing something beautiful for people. And, but 68, I didn't think I'd make it this long. So it's weird.
I'm well glad you're there. That's the exact same age I am. I'll be bumping up to 69 here in about a month and a half, but so I do understand that. We with my nonprofit, it's I've been running this for 6 years, and I'm just aware that I'm not going to be here forever. So I'm hoping that too that I can find somebody that will want to eventually take the reins and keep this going, and that it doesn't just simply die with me. So I do understand that, and I wish you the best in that. If there's anything that we can do to help spread the word of what you're looking for, how you want us to present that, that would be great. We would be happy to do so. Two other folks that joined us while you were uh, telling your story are Santa Papa John and Moshe Math. Um, I would say the thing that I see in both of them is a care and a compassion for veterans, though neither of them have personally served. I guess I'd ask either of you. I know that Santa Papa John Moshe, I know you didn't hear her, Teresa's full story, but do you have questions of her?
No, I caught the last little bit of it, and it sounds very intriguing. You can tell that she's definitely got a passion there and I've quickly looked at the couple pages on the website, and it looks very intriguing. So good job, and thank you for your dedication to helping your fellow veteran. And if anything I can do to help you, don't hesitate to reach out. I do support our veterans, and I have a website for our veterans as well. So Moshe, what about you? Do you catch
She's
some
a
of the
better.
last part of it?
No, I heard more than that, but I'm having trouble because I like to think that I'll start getting notices on LinkedIn about the meeting and I can just click on, but it hasn't happened yet. So I had to really go find it from last week. But I would tell you that first of all, I did hear more of it probably than possibly than you did. I don't know, but I will tell you that Teresa's a better person than I am because based on her experience, I would have called the group VA space PITA.
That's funny. Teresa, are you on LinkedIn?
I
Yes.
am. I am.
Couldn't find you.
Teresa
I'll
Aldrich.
I'll send you the link
Oh,
for her, Bob.
thanks.
ERESA ALD.
Right.
C-H?
Rich.
Can't find you.
That's so weird.
We tried a little differently.
Oh, I'm Teresa,
T-Bird.
quotation mark, T-Bird, end quote,
There you
Aldrich.
are. There you are. Out of St. Louis. Okay, I'm just going to invite you to connect.
That's fine. That'd be great. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. Rocky, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting the VA. They
Well,
ticked me off the other day, and I thought I had it with them, so I'm filing a new claim or a new appeal because they are just not following the law.
I
Yeah,
haven't had that much of a interaction with the VA myself. Just actually because I had the ability to retire, I've spent most of my post-retirement years getting my health care from military medical facilities and the like. And it was just really this past February when they said I qualified for hearing aids. And I was really
Mhm.
surprised at how I was expecting, for it to be troublesome, problematic. No, it was, I called up and expected that I was going to have a tough time getting through to speak to a real person. And that when I did, I'd wind up with an appointment like 6 months out. No, it was maybe less than 2 minutes waiting to talk with a real person. And they could have seen me the very next day if I had been available. So it was like 2 days later, and uh, was treated very well. Got tested, got basically they ordered the hearing aids specific to me, basic on the test results that they ran, and less than a month later, I had what I've got. That's like I'm
I
sorry to hear the kinds of things that you are describing. I'm glad
well,
that they're trying to make
it's got
changes.
it got. I don't know how it's been from January to now, but I know over the past several years, for me personally, it's gotten better. The answers to your disability questions when you file a claim and you want to talk to the VA, much faster response. Filing a claim are they're getting done much faster than they used to. Even calling the 800 number, it was getting better. Uh, Now I have to go to community care because I live so far away from any VA. But even with that, last year, my doctor at community care wrote a script for a power chair.
Okay.
And prosthetics called me and had me come in to measure me and got me, I don't know, it's like a $10,000 electric wheelchair. And they put the hitch on the car and the trailer.
Nice.
Yeah, it blew me away. I couldn't believe it. They've got me a walker, a manual wheelchair, a stair glide. Uh, I even went through vocational rehabilitation, which I can't be educated to get another job because I can't go out in a what is competitive environment.
Right.
So I went into this program they called independent living. And because I have lymphedema so bad in my legs and I spend a lot of time on the computer, I got them to buy me this zero gravity workstation. So it reclines back, and as it reclines back, your monitor goes up with it and down with it, and the keyboard stays on the desk with a magnet.
Wow.
It's fantastic and is making a huge difference in my daily comfort.
Sounds like they bow
Oh, I'm
down
sure
to
it
you.
is.
Sounds like what?
Sounds like it bows down to you.
Oh, yes. It's the only thing.
So if
Uh,
I could, Teresa, so your service through hadit.com, is that all free to service members,
Yes.
former service members? Yeah,
Yeah.
and the reason I ask is just, uh, so my experience coming out of Fort Bliss, Texas, was they have a VFW representative. So it happened to be a guy. So he was a part of the transition assistance program that the VFW paid his for his employment. And what
Hmm.
they do now is it free of charge to service members is those individuals help submit your claims, whether you're a retiree or you're an expired term of service, and in some cases, the Army saw fit to put you out because you weren't meeting standards for whatever reason. They assist with that, and it's called the BDD. It's benefits upon discharge, which is there. Some people have some issues here and there. Interestingly enough, my claim went through without any issues, except for uh, my it doesn't have me as married, it has me as single. And so that's the longest portion of my claim so far is proving that I'm married. And I was like, that's part of my disability. But anyways, it was ridiculous. But that was
Wait,
it.
Yeah.
wait,
Well,
wait, 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 wait. The
yeah.
marriage is your disability?
No, it was a
uh,
joke. I'm sorry. Have a merry
No,
sense
no,
of
no, no.
humor.
I tell people I didn't have high blood pressure until I got involved with my wife. So no, I
Okay.
understand.
Okay. Yeah.
I was
My wife can't hear me right now. So that it's fun to, it's
You're
Dennis,
gonna
don't be
sleep
calling
with
her.
one eye open
no,
tonight.
no, no. Well,
Right.
I will tell you that it's important that they um uh,
Mhm.
document the fact that you are married, and I'll tell you why. I found this out. I don't know. It makes a difference in your monthly pay
It
if
does.
you are above 30%, I believe, or something like that. So when I first retired, I had a 10% disability. It didn't make any difference one way or another. And so we didn't register that I was married at that time. So
Oh man, you got to
I
do that.
go, well, I go 11 years, retired. I were called back did a 2-year retiree recall, 2011 to 2013. I went through a divorce at that time. So in 2013, did a reassessment, and now I'm at 60%. But I'm not married anymore. So it's like, okay, they adjust my disability pay, and I go on about my business. Now, about a year or 2 years later, I get remarried, and I know that I need to get my wife into Deers so she can get her ID card, she can get her medical care, etc. But it didn't really dawn on me that I needed to do anything with the VA. And so 9 years later, somebody points out, "Oh, you're not we know you're married, but it's not showing in the system. You could get extra pay every month for being a
Having a dependent,
with dependent."
right?
So I go back in and I'm thinking, okay, well, like um when I had a reclassification of my disability, and it took them a while to do that, they backdated my pay, which is a nice little bonus.
Oh yes.
I'm thinking that the same thing will happen. Well, gosh, it was 9 years ago that I actually got married, and now, oh no, that part does not. It happens the day they acknowledge that you are indeed married. So it is important that that gets taken care of. As
Also, if you're married for over 10 years and you die, your wife will get a portion of what you were getting.
Well, that's
Okay.
an improvement. She has to wait that long.
Well, they expect when he's alive, he's supposed to share.
Right. And I do, but not.
Now they're very because they don't want to give anybody an earlier effective date because it can be huge money. I've
Right.
had I've had a lot of vets who, by the time they got their claim filed, their retro was over 100,000, 150,000, some even more, because it's taken so long for them to get their claim approved. Now, this is from years ago. Like I said, they're doing it much faster. But I wanted to address the veteran service officers from DAV and VFW. And that is an excellent point. And we point that out to people all the time. You don't have to get a lawyer, and please stay away from the claim sharks. And or you can do it yourself. Just don't pay anyone. You can do it with our help. We don't have anybody individually helping. It's just people coming together and trying to help each other out. Some people know a lot about the law. We have a lot of VA employees that come on under assumed names. And I know that because I can see what email they registered under.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
So
know,
it's just a different kind of mission. That's all.
that's right.
yeah, I
So,
appreciate you bringing that up because here's the warning that they provide you for in the Army and in the Air Force is don't pay someone because they take a percentage of your disability.
not only do they take a percentage, there was a group, I don't know if they're still doing this, a few years ago that wanted a huge, a high percentage of your retroactive pay. And then they wanted a percentage of what you got for like six to 12 months after you received
Right.
it, which is so freaking wrong and should be illegal. I don't know why it's not.
Well, it's the same reason that young service members marry strippers and purchase cars for 26% interest.
Yeah.
Some of you may understand that humor, some of you may not.
I
It's kind of
do.
the reality of
Unbelievable,
it's
Johnny.
young
That
people that they unfortunately in some cases they're just naive and they get taken advantage of.
Right. That's why I've been around so long that now some of the children of veterans I helped long ago joined the service and they're now on the forum. So I got like two generations sometimes.
Yeah.
And back in the day, uh, veteran service officers were so frustrating. You couldn't get them on the phone, they wouldn't answer a question. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of have like a specific little niche because by the time they get to my website, they're totally frustrated and they've tried a lot of things. Now I say, for me personally, I like to file my claim through a veteran service officer uh, because then I know the dates are getting met, the whatever needs to be sent in and sent out, and there's a nice documentation record for it. But I do interview veteran service officers because some of them, just like any other person you in the service industry that you get to do something, are either don't care but mostly they're so overworked because there's way more veterans filing claims than there are service officers to go around. So uh, now, since social media came out, there are people running Facebook groups that are doing similar work to me, and Reddit has a big community where veterans are talking. Some people say my site is too old school because it's a discussion forum. But if you want to go deeper into something, and when you're helping somebody with their claim, it's going to take, you want more people to jump in. You want to be able to search for your information. You want to be able to delve a little deeper and focus on it. And I just think that format is better for it.
here's
I could be. Go ahead.
I don't disagree with you, Teresa, and here's what I suspect. I don't know this to be true. I took a quick glance at your page just a few minutes ago. I think there's if you break veterans into segments or groups of veterans, right? I think the veterans that you're talking about, and the reason they would gravitate to your forum is because of the fact that they're a little bit older. And that generation didn't complain. They weren't authorized to complain. And so there are things that are missing from their medical records because they didn't seek medical advice. They rubbed some dirt on it, or their branch of service just put them to the curb because they were no longer physically or mentally able, depending on the circumstances, able to conduct service, right? So they were no longer fit for service. And so I think they would gravitate to that. I think there's another generation, the soldiers that were in my command, they go and get medical, they probably swung the pendulum too far, if we're being honest, but they go and get things checked out and they get their profiles and they make sure things are medically documented and things of that nature. But that's also the same group that go to the barracks lawyers and they go to Facebook, whereas folks that are my age and maybe a little older, they're not going to go necessarily to Facebook because they don't trust it. Right. So they're going to go back and find forums or they're going to find people, other veterans that are talking about your page. And that's where they're going to gravitate to. So I think this sounds kind of silly, but I think there's a little bit more of a trust with internet web pages as opposed to social media platforms like
No,
Facebook.
I don't think that sounds silly at all. I think that sounds true. And, and an argument could be made that it is safer. You know,
Right.
I mean, so because we did, like and I say we as in my community, will do things that they don't really do on social. Like if a new case gets decided that affects veterans benefits, I make sure to write an article about it, how it will affect you, why you should use that legal theory in your argument if you meet such and such requirements. And then people jump in and start discussing and everything. But you're right. People, I think it is an older generation and that trusts this because the younger generation just defaults to social media.
Because it's easy and convenient.
It's easy, it's convenient, and it's fast.
Well, I mean, if we're being completely honest, I think there's a sense of entitlement as well. That the Vietnam era veterans didn't, they for one reason or another, right? Not to turn this into something political, but for one reason or another, they didn't have some of the entitlements. They did what the country asked of them to do or told them to do, and they didn't bitch, gripe, or complain. They went back into the workforce, right? And now as they've started to get older, now they're starting to see some of the medical issues and they need the VA, which is I think why they gravitate back towards web pages as opposed to just social media.
That's such a valid point, I think.
The other thing is, I'm wondering also if there's a difference between those who were drafted and those who volunteered. Could be a difference in attitude as well.
Well,
could be a difference in attitude, but
you would think it would be the other way around though, right? Hey, you drafted me, so now you need to fix me. And I think it's generational. I don't think it's necessarily I hear what you're saying. I think personally it's generational.
No, I'm asking as a question. I'm not stating any.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I think it's generational.
No, I don't know enough to know. I was just speculating.
My
my gut says it's generational.
my daughter has a doctorate in psychology, and she worked for the VA for a few years in Redlands, California. She said it was one of the hardest jobs she had ever experienced in her life. Why? because of the amount of veteran suicides. That she said that was so difficult. Um, and the irony of that is it's not the younger people that are committing suicide, it's the older generation. So what happens is veteran goes into retirement and they have nothing to do, and all of a sudden all the feelings of the past bubble up to the surface.
That's right.
And that's when their loathing of life comes up. So
Oh, yeah. Because you have nothing but time, and then flashbacks start to creep up into you. Your pain gets to you, and you think, I got another how many years of this?
yeah, right, right.
It's not worth it.
Well,
Well, go
good.
ahead.
Oh, I've been with my wife 46 years, so um,
You're a tenacious little son of a bitch, aren't you?
yeah, but the irony is my wife and I call each other best buddies. And we had to learn that because we lost everything in the earth. And I've mentioned this story a million times. We lost everything in the earthquake in 1994,
Oh, God, man.
California. And we had two little kids, a two-year-old and a 5-year-old. And we just knew from that point forward, we lost everything. We didn't have clothes, we didn't have anything. And dishes, furniture, anything. Started over. And we knew that the only thing that we could give back to our children is laughter. It's the one thing that survives if you focus on it. So, now my wife and I call each other best buddies because we've always made a life of fun and humor and laughter and feeling good about ourselves. Now, that might not be today. I haven't asked her for several weeks.
It can become intermittent from time to
Hey,
time, I
Bob,
imagine.
Bob, I'll tell you the line I use when people ask me my status, which, I'm married. I tell them that my wife tells me I'm happily married.
That is a classic. I'll write that one down. Um,
By the
This,
way, I've said this before also. When I'm on Alignable, people will be hesitant to try to pronounce my name, and I'll tell them, let me make it a lot easier for you to not to worry about it. And they'll say, how? I said, no matter how badly you butcher my name, it can't be any worse than the way my wife addresses me. It's one of the best icebreakers I have ever been able to use in business.
I love it.
I'm writing this down. What's the date today? Today's
Bob, it's an important date.
Mhm.
My brother and his wife are over in France today celebrating because he's always wanted
Oh,
to do a history tour of some of the
how
war.
wonderful.
80 years today they ended the war in
I
France.
know.
right.
And he is over actually he's in where your father trained at Normandy. And
Right.
yeah, he's just
God, you
put a
got a good
post on
memory.
Facebook. So yes, it's an important date, not only for your notes, but an important date for the world.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Teresa, for joining us here and telling your story. I do welcome you to be a part of this on an ongoing basis. We are looking for future featured speakers, so please share with anyone and everyone that you know that is a veteran, because we want to hear their story, and we want them to get the sense that we truly do want to hear their story and that it's going to be honored and respected. And I know that some generations, they don't get that as much. Others they do, but that's really what this is all about. It's an adjunct to the work that we do at the Price of Freedom Foundation, with that group, that work is trying to tell the story of those who are no longer with us. I'm a big advocate for tell your story while you're still alive, and there's people, no matter what you think, there are people who want to know it and want to hear it.
I agree. And you should write me up a little thing about that, and I can post it on the forum.
Okay, I'd be happy to do.
And maybe we'll get some volunteers from there. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I will get to that this afternoon. And I know we're just still, hold on. We still have about 4 minutes left before the hour is up. I don't want us to just hang on just because we haven't done the full hour. I do want to encourage you to look at the chat and save the chat. I'll go ahead and put my info in there. I think I have it saved.
Yes, Teresa, I
We
sent you
definitely
a,
do
Oh,
recommend
there we go. I see it.
connections outside this group and conversations outside this group, because I love being a connector and helping people, and I got that sense, Teresa, that is a lot about what you do too. So
It is. It is. Maybe we'll do some good stuff together.
absolutely,
We only help one veteran. It's a success.
that's right. All right. Well, I'm going to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day weekend. Just let the mothers in your life know that you appreciate them. If anyone has someone to be interested in being a featured speaker for next week, please let me know. And please come on out and hang on out, even if we don't have a featured speaker. I love how this conversation went today. So,
Oh, great.
all right.
and
Very
Teresa,
Yeah.
we're a great bunch of people here, and we support each other with all our heart, and it's usually an amazing conversation. So please come back and join us. And if Bob said something to upset you, just ignore him, because we push Bob to the side some of the times.
Is
But
that what
you
you
know,
do? Just ignore
yeah. But Bob's a good guy, and Dennis has got this is a great chat, and we usually have a great bunch of people in here.
Okay, that sounds great to me. I will try to make it when I can.
All
Usually
right, I got to
Fridays are
jump,
pretty good
guys.
for me.
Have a
All
great
right.
Okay,
weekend.
we'll see you.
very
God bless
Oh,
you.
helpful highlighting.
Bye.
Teresa, what you said.
All right. I'm going to say
I
goodbye.
connect on LinkedIn. So
okay, I will take a look at that. I'll accept it.
Yeah, I sent you a link as well. For whatever reason, I can't seem to, it's my fault, but I can't seem to get paste my own, uh, my own URL in there. So, oh, good.
Did you send it to me on LinkedIn?
I did. Yeah. So one of the things
Okay.
one of the things I do is I coach veterans. Well, I'm a coach in general, but I coach veterans. A lot of it has to do with transition and things, not necessarily just the VA, but as they make the transition, whether they've retired or they're at, term of service. So I'll send you some of those details so you've got them. And if I can help, then
Yeah, we sound like we're working toward the same purposes. There's probably something I can do on the website to maybe guide some people to you.
no, that'd be great. And again, it's just an opportunity to help because it is different. You start looking for purpose and don't start, don't think about it in time and you don't really plan to get out of the military. And the next thing you know, it's not what you thought it was. And I thought you summed it up really well, right? The pace is different. The what you think you're worth is compared to the civilian world, that's different. And so anyway, I'll just send that to you on LinkedIn, just so you kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. But would gladly take anybody that could help, where you think I could help, that'd be great.
That sounds great. Okay, we'll do.
Everybody have a good weekend. Happy
You
Mother's Day
too.
to
Nice
the
meeting
mothers
you.
in your lives in some way, or the wives who became mothers because of you. So thanks and enjoy.
Yep. We'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off too. I got a 1 o'clock I gotta get to.
Amen.
It was great meeting you guys, and I will see you again. I'll be back. May not be next week, but I will be back.
Sounds great.
Okay, we'll see ya.
Take
Thanks for the invite, Dennis.